Hey everybody, how are you? Welcome back to Into the Core podcast with myself, Linda. It is such a pleasure to have you here. Today I'm really excited. I've got these two lads who are, I'm seeing them. I'm already wearing my Abesha stuff. That's the most I could do. Just to feel a little bit connected with them. But we're going to be talking to them in just a few moments. But as always, let's get straight into it. We've got our intro. Into the Core.
Get into it.
All good things in Africa and beyond. Into the core.
Get into it.
Into the core. Into the core.
Get into it.
Into the core. Into the core. All good things in Africa and beyond. Yep, we do talk about all things in Africa and beyond. And for sure, these two are African and doing greater things beyond. So I want to welcome to the core, Sirak and Kalab of Africology. Welcome, guys.
What's up? How you doing?
What's up, Linda? Thank you for having us.
Appreciate
So
it.
the last time I saw both of you, I think we were having pizza at Efoy. Big up to Efoy.
The first one though, by the way, not the
It was the first. It
original.
was the first. It was the
Original
first
Efoy.
the original Efoy. Yeah, with all the great music, the great hip hop. So big shout out to Efoy, Team Efoy. It's so good to see you guys. It really has been such a while, eh?
Yeah, it's been a while for sure.
A minute, yeah.
Well, how have you guys been? I mean, Sirak, you're all the way in Virginia, and Caleb, you're in Maryland. How have you guys been? Let's talk about how your 20. I feel like the years that we need to talk about is 2020 and 2021. The rest of it, I'm just like
Survival mode, I guess.
survival mode.
Survival mode and quarantine mode for the most part.
Yeah, of course. But have you guys been reaching out and getting some stuff done, or how has it been?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we definitely have. I think when 2020 came, I actually was in Ethiopia February 2020, and then came back to the States, and then a month later was when the whole world kind of decided to shut down. So
Yeah.
the first month was kind of almost reflecting or whatever it was, and then we just had a lot of time on our hands and figured we'd just get right into working. And the whole first part of 2020 was designing, creating concepts for all the clothing lines for Africology, Addie State of Mind, Addie Sour Rockers, and what have you. So it was just a creation process the whole time, really, and just fixing state of mind and taking care of yourself and all that good stuff, really.
Oh, cool. And how is and what about you, Sirak?
Yeah, for the most part, the same thing Kalab was saying. But by September 2020, I kind of made an escape, and I was in Guinea, in West Africa, and yeah, so that was interesting. I mean, considering it's a pandemic, but by the time you land down in West Africa, life is just as normal as it could be. So that kind of pushed us to pushed me to get involved in certain things. And so we weren't really quarantined for the most part. We were able to move around.
Oh, cool. I mean, that's really exciting to hear about. I mean, Ethiopia, Guinea. I'm just like, okay, that's pretty. It's pretty radical. But okay, so then let's talk about. Let's start with Africology and how Africology actually came about. What was the stance for you getting into it? I mean, like, you both had pretty interesting and diverse past. So yeah, let's start with you, Caleb, like
Yeah,
where
sure.
you came from, and then that link with Sirak, and then Sirak, you can talk about where you were coming from too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think for me, being raised in Ethiopia and then growing up in Ghana predominantly, majority of my life, which was over 10 plus, about 10 years, and then living in Tanzania as well.
Yeah.
And being a lover of Africa, really. When I came to college, I was in Virginia. And then after I graduated, I decided to make a move out to New Jersey and then a little bit in New York. But that's where I found a gap between our generation and the older generation of musicians, where all the big festivals and what have you were always being represented by the legends like the Baba Mals, the Youssou N'Dours, the Angelique Kidjos, and what have you, and they were doing their thing and they're legends in their own right, but there was really no representation of musicians, artists, creatives of our generation. So I
Yeah,
noticed it,
yeah.
but it was just kind of, and then at that time, that's I was interning at VP Records, so that was my stint at like getting into the music industry, especially the reggae music industry. And I would go out, and I actually met Sirak. I think it was 2005 or six. It was probably maybe a couple of months after I moved to up north. And when I met him, he was already active, meaning, he was doing a bunch of promotions and what have you. So I was like, okay, we
Yeah.
got some people that are over here doing things. So would check out his events and what have you. We spoke for a little while. We kept, brainstorming, going back and forth. Yeah, we should work with each other. Let's do some stuff. And you know what I mean? And then it just materialized to actually meeting, I think, a Bowery Poetry Club or something. My cousin introduced me to him. And then he, in turn, took me to a place called La Vagina on Avenue C. And that's when he introduced me to Meta and the Cornerstone. So already, without even us knowing, we're already working. You know what I mean? And then before you know it, fast forward to 2009, we moved to 10 J Street in Brooklyn. And that's when we decided to create Africology.
Oh, that is very cool. I mean, like it was a whole journey of already just kind of gelling and sinking in with each other.
Yeah.
So what was that like for you, Sirak? I mean, the initial, your background, and then your initial meetup.
So I left Ethiopia when I was 9 years old. So, and I grew up in Piazza, which is like predominantly music and loud area, right? Especially like in the 90s back then. And I came to New York, and I was straight into the Bronx, another predominantly loud and musical area, right? So the musical journey was already there from the beginning, in a sense. So it's like, without me knowing it, it's always in the background. And one of the things that I picked up once I moved to the Bronx is like, if you don't do something and you end up on the streets doing something you're not supposed to. So therefore, we made a hobby of DJing. It was 3 Puerto Rican friends and an Ethiopian. And we started every day after school. That was our thing, just to get away from the nonsense that's on the block, right? So we continued with that, and that was mostly driven in regards to hip hop. And that was our thing. Hip hop was our thing. This is 93, 94, 95, 96, But later on, I guess, after high school and started doing my own little research in regards to culture and trying to find myself, started getting into African music. And that's when I started getting into like the Fela Kutis and the Salif Keitas and what have you. And so when I started doing promotion, it was more so of how do we merge the culture that's here and the culture from Africa and connect it in a way that it's palatable for younger audience to take in. And so one of the things that we started was the mic goes global. So it was basically an open mic session from artists from all over the continent, really, that lived in New York. And because of that, I think that kind of took it to the next level in the sense of meeting Kalab, meeting, the Kimatis, and meeting so many different people. And then, we were talking about this the other day. Is like things just take on organically, and tend
Yeah.
to be fruitful. So so that's how the journey came about.
Well, that's pretty dope. I mean, like, I love that. I love the fact that the energy or the synergy between the both of you was very organic. You know, just getting into both your spaces. So, oh, and so Caleb, are
Yeah.
you still working for Meta and the Cornerstones? Because I love them, and I just introduced. So I was explaining you guys to someone, and I just said, well, let me send you some music so that I can give you some profile on the type of guys that these guys work with.
Right.
And he's completely sold on them. And I love their new, is it a new song that has just come out, or am I just behind?
Yeah,
Breeze?
Breeze just came out
Oh,
April 16th.
dopeness.
Yeah, he's
Such
his
a
new album is
dope
about to
track.
come out soon. Thank you. I think as far as Meta and the Cornerstones, he's our brother. You know what I mean? We've done it all with him. Before Africology was Meta and the Cornerstones, and Mike goes global and promotions and what have you. You know what I mean? So that was like the first stint that I had as a manager. You know, and
Yeah.
even with him, it took me about a year of going to the spot that he would play at every single Wednesday, and would enjoy the show as a fan and say, hey, Meta, we should work together. And it was almost a year. You know, it was always like, hey, bro, yeah, we'll make it happen. And it was just like a year of just really getting to know each other. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
when we finally broke that, kind of cracked that code, we realized that, you know, we're passionate Africans in New York City, working to drive change through music, and he's a great musician. So yeah, we worked, man, 7 years, 8 years, and I think in 2011 was the highlight for all of us in the band, and Meta especially, and myself. Um, that's when Ancient Power came to fruition, and we got to travel to Jamaica. We got to work with legendary musicians and producers, and it was recorded at Bob Marley's studio at Tough Gong. And for
Yeah.
me, you know, it was kind of like a height of their career. You know what I mean? That I don't think I could have pushed further past that. You know what I mean? After that, it's just,
Yeah.
you know, they're already touring in Europe. You know, they had a name
Yeah.
for themselves and what have you. And I wanted to transition myself from that into venue management, because I always, as a manager of bands in New York City, where there's tons of them, you never understood why people would shortchange musicians or not pay them enough and what have you. So my fight was always for the musicians. And I said, you know what, man, I want to understand what it's like to be managing, or, you know, a venue. I want to
Yeah.
see what the back end is, to understand, to find that balance. So when I moved into Harlem, I got the chance to, you know, general manage the Shrine, Sylvana, Cantina, a lot of places in Harlem. And I realized that there's a lot of bills that these bars, restaurants have to pay as well. So I had to have that balance. But in short, we stopped working in 2011, but we always supported each other, even with the Breeze concept, and with the new release, and, you know, the t-shirt giveaway and what have you. It was Africology that did it. So we always keep in touch, and anytime we can kind of bounce off of each other, the doors are always open, you know. I think we lost Lisa. I mean, I think we lost her.
And
Linda.
Safaricom.
I was just about to say.
This is what you put in the ad. Safaricom, Kenya's #1 alternative network provider.
What do you do when the internet connection in Africa gives up on you, my brother?
You keep the faith alive, and we wait.
Yeah.
Do. Do.
Oh, she's definitely gone.
Okay, it's gonna go out and come back in.
There's a couple of texts that came in.
I put my joint on airplane mode.
Oh, okay.
Like it's gonna be calls after calls, so Doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo.
I don't know. Should we log off and
So
log
I
back
guess
in?
she's the admin. Maybe we need. Yeah, probably.
Um,
Okay, leave and come
all right.
back, man.
Yes.
Shall we just send a shout out to KPLC and say thanks for that? That was
But
great.
hey, guess what? But you came back, and your connection's much better. By the way, we can like really see you.
You can read. Oh, so before it was a little bit fuzzy.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Thanks. Kenya Power and Lighting.
It's always it's nice to reset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess
Sorry.
we're-
So we gotta wait for Sirak.
Yeah, he just texted
Uh,
us, getting back to it as well.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, these folios.
But you know, this is welcome back.
Hey,
What were you listening to? I'm like
hey, DJ Tira.
DJ Tina.
Tira,
Is she a Besha?
South Africa.
Tira.
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 Short,
Tira.
dark-skinned dude, South Africa.
Okay. Is she?
Yeah.
Clearly. I must be terrible at these things. So I'd like to send my shout outs to KPLC for being boo.
Safari,
I mean-
what up? You're get sponsorship. Watch.
Don't say it. They will
won't,
never
I won't,
talk
I
to
won't.
me. I mean, like if we were in Ethiopia, I mean, like I would just be like, okay, yeah. But anyway, TIA, this happened. So welcome to Africa. This is Africa.
Yeah.
Shigri yellem, no problem. Hakuna Matata. All right, sorry. All right, so where were we before we lose all the sponsorships that we have? Before I dig my own small little grave. But yeah, you were talking about Meta and the Cornerstones and that you guys are in a better space, in a better place. Right. Anyway, that you're still supporting each other and Africology is working with them. Well, you guys bounce off your ideas. So my gosh, I really love Breeze. Even my son knows it.
Nice.
So we were kicking it here last night, you know, sitting outside and listening to Meta. And he really he digs it.
For sure. I think all generations really dig it because it's he calls his music healing music, really, you know. So I've witnessed, I've witnessed small kids grooving to it, to old people grooving to it. Like there's no age limit for his music.
Yeah.
It's recorded with the intent to last versus you know what I mean. So you can always pop into his music and be present at the same time, reflect on the past and look forward to the future, you know? So it's good stuff.
Oh, bro. I mean, so Sirak, you know, why don't you guys run us through? I mean, like you've worked with some real big giants here in Kenya. You know, I want to shout out Kimathi, who I love so much. I want to shout out Blinky Bill. I'm waiting for you, Blinky. I mean, like, dang, call a sister back or something.
Milky's the brother, man.
But he's so dope.
But just rock up to the studio too, man. Just go shoot the text and say, "Hey, man, I'm family.
I'm on my way.
I gotta come through."
No, exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's how it usually works for us. It's just like, "Hey, we're around. Are you around? Okay, we're coming."
That's it, you know.
Well, you got a recording session? I'm sorry. We're just going to be here quickly. Not take up your time.
I'm going to do that. You have no idea. And I'll be like, it's Sirak and Kalab. I mean, like, they told me how to do this. So here I am.
I'm going to have to message the brother real quick before you get started.
I know.
Cool,
I know.
So,
oh, my gosh.
Shout out to Buddha Blaze, man.
And Buddha Blaze,
yeah.
That's
that's
the
brother.
Africology in Kenya right there, you know. He holds us down on a regular basis. And then the New York connection as well. Like it's you know, I guess Kimathi was the first one, I guess, in the Kenyans in New York. And he used to like frequent our open mic. And you know, it's like Kenyan, and I'm working for Mark Echo, and I was like, "What, Echo? So you know what's up with hip hop?" He was like, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, well, we got a link." So like, you know, that relationship escalated to like me knowing a lot of people in the community and doing events with so many of the DJs, incredible DJs Kenya has to offer, from Babu to DJ VJ1,
Mix master.
Mixmaster Denny, and Hypnotic, and like all these people. So it's like, yeah, love the community, love the energy.
Yeah.
But when we were, we used to do events at the shrine when there was no liquor license. And it's Kenyans and Ethiopians that used to come through with their own thing on the side
Trust
and
us.
just take over the whole spot, And this is like a sanctuary for African music, or like a popular place that everybody goes to on a regular basis. But when we started, it was no liquor license. It was an empty hall in a sense, with a stage and a drum sets, and
Oh, wow.
it came to what it is now after, I guess, like 12, 13 years later. But and it all started, that was the main crew. I mean, we had the West African crew as well, but the Kenyan and the Ethiopians are the ones that kind of brought in that Eastern essence into the building to make that place, something definitely different.
Gobez. See how I'm just using all my Ethiopian words? Today's the day.
You know what I mean?
Today's the day, Gobez. I mean, that's brilliant. I mean, like, and of course, trust the Kenyans. I mean, and Ethiopians. As far as I'm concerned, I feel like a Kenyan Ethiopian, an Ethiopian Kenyan, because that was home
single
for
line
me.
they drew, man. It's all the same.
I know, yeah.
They just drew that line in the South. That's all it is.
We're in it to win it. My son speaks, he started speaking a little bit of Amharic. I'm teaching him the little words that I know. I'm just like, but it's so cool. I told you it's such a sexy language. Anyway, so now talk to me about the different facets of Africology. I mean, like, and the layout of how you're working with creatives and industry people out there. Anyone can take it up.
So with Africology, like, people need to understand it came out of passion. We never really anticipated it to turn into a business. It was just, there's a problem, let's fix the problem and let's have fun with it, was how it got created. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The authenticity is what's saved us and has kept us alive throughout these years. And for us, with Africology, started off with doing events first. You know what I mean? From events, we transitioned and we're like, wait, the name is powerful. Like, we have to do more than events, So our brainstorming sessions back in 2009 were obviously jumbled up because we're creatives and we just kept creating so many different things. You know what I mean? And then what we finally ended up with was that Africology as a company that has subsidiaries under it, which would be Africology Shop, Africology Records, Africology TV, Africology Radio, and those are like the core subsidiaries of Africology. And what we decided to do was, we were all over the place throughout the years. We were trying to do everything all at once, and it's not really sustainable. And especially without finances and what have you, without, you know what I mean? It's really hard. So, we decided to break things apart, you know what I mean? And we dabbled in the whole Africology TV thing back in, I believe it was April of 2013 to about 2014 or so. Went to Ethiopia, did a whole pilot, and professionally shot. I remember it was Munit that was supposed to be hosting that show. We shopped it to TV stations, but it wasn't sustainable. You know what I mean? What we realized was they
didn't get it.
The structure wasn't there.
Something new, and they're like, "Oh, what is this?" Like, okay, we don't know. Now, like, everybody, I see what they're doing, but at the time, they were clueless. They was like, "Oh, what is this? We don't understand this."
They liked it. They liked
it, but they didn't know how to fund it. Or didn't know how to market it, right? And then even the offering was like, we were doing all the work, and the offer sucked.
Yeah,
you want me to produce this and do X, Y, and Z, and at the same time, you want me to be the marketing agency to bring you at, Linda, Afro FM. You already know. We've been there. you know. So that concept kind of led on to the TV aspect as well. And we never heard of that here. You know what I mean? Coming
Yeah.
from the US, coming from New York, it's like companies like your content, they license your content,
Right.
and that's the end of the day. And
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 that's
they'll
it.
pay you until the agreement is done and we're good. But
Yeah.
they wanted you to be, a whole entity. And when we just struggle to make this pilot and to make these concepts come to life, now I have to be a marketing agency as well. It's like,
I
it takes
know.
away from the creative concept as well,
Yeah. And especially if people don't get it. I mean, like, and it's so tough for, I feel like support systems and support systems within all these bigger conglomerates, that's why you need the young guys there to explain to you exactly what is happening, even to a certain extent, not in a bad sense, but you
Yeah.
can imagine if people are more informed, on what else is happening in the rest of the world, or why this concept is unique. You need young blood to kind of push that, your agendas. But because of, well, I don't know right now, but old school for me when we were at Afro it was difficult, especially with the older companies, because you're dealing with the older people. They're just not getting it, the concept of it. But the better, I think things become better when you start getting the right, the younger people who can really translate what is happening on the back end. But again, yeah, I feel your pain with that, but
I mean,
have
to be honest with you, I mean, really, it's part of a journey of entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
you're gonna get the no's more than the yeses, and that's completely fine, provided that you keep pushing forward. So once that concept was kind of like, all right, we really cannot fund this ourselves. They want us to split advertising dollars, and that's the only stream of revenue. That's not going to happen. So we parked it.
yeah,
And then we
yeah,
got into the clothing line. And at that time, again, around 2014 or what have you, I have experience from it from way as far back as 2005. My first internship, like I was telling you, at VP Records, was folding T-shirts. You know what I mean? It wasn't nothing glamorous at first. So I got my stint of understanding how to, create a clothing line and make it successful and what have you. But I always shied away from doing it for ourselves. And I was like, man, this is a no-brainer. We gotta make it happen. But at that time, it's kind of like you had to forecast how much, you had to predict how much clothing you were going to sell, and you would have an Excel spreadsheet, and then you would predict, I'm gonna order 10 extra larges of this color and what have you, and it's silk screen printing. You know what I mean? So they charge you for every color. It's costly, right? And then when we did that process, we ended up spending a couple of $1,000s and had dead stock, where if we didn't have an outlet to sell it, you know what I mean, we're just holding on to merchandise, and it became, again, difficult. So that was another learning lesson. So, but fast forward to now, that with digital printers and fulfillment centers or what have you, it became much easier. So usually with the companies, we try, you know what I mean? And if there's like a roadblock or whatever it is, we just park it. The concepts cannot be stolen, in my opinion. You know what I mean? They can be duplicated, but you got to have the vibe. Like even the T-shirt says it. You know what I mean? You got to have the vibe to
I love that.
to make it happen. You know what I mean? So I think for us, as we grew older, we realized that nothing's personal. You know what I mean? It's a journey, and we just gotta keep doing our thing, and just keep going, keep pushing, and that's why we're still here and through.
Yeah, I got to put that in because I really love it. That it's a vibe.
Yeah, it's a vibe.
You can't steal. You can't steal that. I mean, as much as many people see what other people are doing, and this is just important for creatives. Once somebody has a concept, you might try and do it, but it just won't be the same. And you're right, it definitely is a vibe. Um, so what is in the works now, from 20, actually, first of all, let me first ask a really, what is it about now Africology? Because it started as a passion, ended up being this beautiful business entity. It's been through its, valleys and hills.
Right.
It's gone water sporting, um, So tell me a little bit about what you would advise. I'm going to ask you about what the future is, but what you would advise young creators and creatives who are coming into the scene,
Work together. Let the egos aside and work together. Open your doors. You know what I mean? It's that simple. Open your doors. Let the egos to the side. Bring your own vibe. Let other people bring their own vibe. Share your resources. Share as stop. Our problem is we hold on to resources, man, and we put it in our pockets, and we don't want to give it to nobody until we decide to take it out and spend it. It doesn't work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you have the right connection and you see this other brother or sister that has something dope, take out that resource and say, hey man, we thought about this concept. We're not ready for it, but it looks like you're way ahead of it. We would love to support you. And hey, this is X, Y, and Z. Talk to this person, talk to that person, and just lend that hand. You know what I mean? And that goes a long way. If you do that, and a lot of times we don't do that, and that's totally fine. There's different ways of working. I'm not saying that what I'm talking about is the right way or the wrong way. It's just that what we choose is to share our resources, to make ourselves available to people, no matter what it is. You know what I mean? And like I said, if they come with something sustainable or substantial or is aligned with music, lifestyle, and culture, which is our kind of barricade, you know what I mean? And within that, there's so many levels, and we're living proof of it because we are working with a lot of creatives. You know what I mean? And it's beautiful. It's great to share the joy of success with others. it's for me, that's the kick I get. Like the smiles, the happiness, even through the rough times. You know what I mean? Like how humans can cope with disappointment and still, you know what I mean, pick yourself up and say, hey, you know what, man, we're just going to keep it rocking. Like, and that's just the way I learned how to do it. I guess Sirak feels the same way. I mean, I think he feels the same way. I don't know.
Oh, man, for sure. For sure. Staying as original, as authentic as possible. Like that's the main thing. And when you are in that realm or in that circle, it only inspires you to do even more or to create even more, but when you're trying to do it, like, oh, I'm just going to make this quick money here, and this is the game plan or whatever, usually at some point, it just doesn't flourish as to something sustainable or something that you would look forward to in the future, right? So the main thing is like trying to stay original as possible, stay to yourself as possible, and being able to, move forward and be inspired by it, and that's the main thing. We're not gaining so much money, but at the same time, we're not also pimping ourselves neither.
Yeah.
we you know what I mean? Like we are staying to ourselves and being creative as to how we want to be. And that's the main thing. And that's, anybody that's in that circle, like Kalab says, collaborate at the same time, stay original and authentic as possible.
I think, Lisa, Linda, one last thing I would say with this is, a lot of times, when we're creatives, it's okay to say no as well, right? You know what I mean? It's okay. You don't have to say yes to everybody that comes knocking on your door either.
Absolutely.
And that's super important, because you end up burning yourself or exhausting yourself because you're just overextending, and that's something that's important for people to understand. Is it's okay to say no, and it's okay to say I don't know either. You know what I mean? It's right. Those two things are like we're just 2 people out of 7.5 billion people in this world. You know what I mean? We're not out here preaching like we know it all. We don't. And you know, and it's okay to reach out to, we reach out to tons of people, you know, to say, hey, we need X, Y, and Z. Can you guys come on board and help us with this? And you know what I mean? And that's why after we created it, there's other partners in Africology. It's not just Sirak and I, you know what I mean? And everybody holds their weight, and we work together and brainstorm as much as possible to forward this thing. And it's God's time, it's not our time. And that's the other thing I've realized is you can't rush things. You can't, you know what I mean? You just, you just keep rocking it till the time's ready, you know? And that's been our take. And for us, I think 2020 and 2021 has been the revelation moments of just staying grounded, you know, keeping our feet to the floor, and saying, hey, we're still here, you know, we're contributing as much as we can to the culture we come from, and you know, we keep it moving.
You know, I'm gonna shout out one person who I know who has always, you know, he's had that whole, he's always shared a business card or always called someone or has tried to help people. So mine is a big shout out to Adi Salemayo, because I know he has a really great way of saying, no, man, and he likes to push people to their limits. So yeah, I just want to shout out Addis. I mean, like, I remember sitting with him, and you know, he got us our first sponsor for the Hub of Africa Fashion Week. You know, he got us USAID, you know, and he was just like, speak to this person, talk to them, tell them what you're doing. He got us so many more people, you know, on board as sponsors. And that's what the world, you're right. You know, if you can share a little bit of that, you know, it goes a long way. You know, it helps with people's creative processes. So
100%.
All right, so done with that shout out. Now let's talk about where Africology, you know, in this little last piece of it, you know, where is Africology going? I don't know. I feel like if you don't mention your love for Kimathi, and how you guys have worked together, because I know that there's a series that is still under Jamhuri Wear, which is a beautiful collaboration with you guys. So can you guys talk a little bit about that before we get into, you know, what you guys are working on now in 2021 and what you want?
Kimati is you know, he's a brother from another mother. we've known each other for years, man. You know what I mean? And again, it's always been, as creatives, we always say we got to work with each other, and it happened organically, and that happened in 2019, where it was literally a WhatsApp call between myself, Sirak, and Kimati in 2019. And what was it, Sirak? We were just vibing. We were like, yo, what can we do? And we're like, what are we good at? And we said, all right, music, clothing, obviously with Kimati's experience and my experience, you know what I mean? And then we were like, wait, hold up. Why don't we? And then it just flashed back, and I remember the Ethiopian Airlines deck of cards back in the 80s. Well, for me, it was the 90s when I traveled to 88 when I traveled to Ghana, but moved there with the whole family. They had these beautiful, authentic cards that represented kings and queens, Black kings and queens. You know what I mean? And that always resonated with me. And those deck of cards were at the house, were always in a glass shelf, locked up. And you're not just going to rock up over there and grab those cards. You're going to play with the red and blue ones. You know? And then those cards would come out, when my parents, friends would come through and what have you. And they were unique, And what we decided was we got to bring that culture back. Royalty, like Black kings and queens. And we decided to do the Ethiopian collection, tapped Desita Design, who's another sister we've known for years from New York, Maro Haile. And we tapped her and we said, hey, we would love to work with you. Could you design this concept for us? It's a deck of cards. She came through with those dope designs, and it's selling. We were featured on Salanta magazine right before COVID hit, which was for me was like the highlight. You know what I mean? It was just like, all right, now it's kind of like, all right, it's created, it's on, they had us featured on there, even though Salam magazine unfortunately is no longer, they've discontinued it. For me, growing up through all these years, it was predominantly Ethiopian Airlines that I used to fly with. So being able to be part of that for me was beautiful. But there's more to come. It's just one edition that we've released, and there's so many more countries that we're planning on working with.
I feel bad that Salamta is not there anymore. I mean, like, honestly, the content just used to be so amazing. Yeah. Okay. So that's sad. I did not know that. That is kind of sad.
Yeah, I think, but it's good. I mean, they did their thing, you know what I mean? And they pushed the culture forward, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they did.
So it was a dope experience. But as far as Kimati, like you said, Chamuri wear was and is like the cornerstone of street culture for me. Period. There's no denying that. You know what I mean? Like what Kimati has been able to do after he left MTV and Echo and what have you. I mean, he's like, we've been through it all. Like there's no disputing his talent and his trajectory of like how design should be. There's a lot of, if you go back to a lot of the designs that you've seen Kimati create, what is this, the Mandela piece, the what is this, the Kimati t-shirt, like all those things, still people would rock those things, and it feels like it came out in 2021. You know what I mean? So he knows what he's
the designs stay relevant because they're created out of passion, right? Like creativity out of freedom to express oneself. So that's the same thing. That's what we're pushing from our angle, and there's a lot of African creatives that are doing the same thing as well. And we celebrate that, and we're trying to move along to create those timeless pieces and not just for a season,
Yeah, and this is the beauty of what you guys are doing, is that the collaborations. I mean, we could sit here for hours if we were talking about all of these amazing musicians that you've worked with globally, apparel partners that you have done, a series with, and the works. But yeah, we could sit here for hours. I just want to know, like right now, in projection of what Africology is doing in 2021, how are you guys positioning yourselves, and what is new, what is hot, and what and what should we expect from you?
Sirak, you want to go ahead and I'll answer after? Or
for the most part, right now, like it's at the shop, is the Africology shop. That's the main agenda.
All right.
For the shop, we have the collaboration pieces that we're working with different artists on there. We have our own designs, and then we have Adi State of Mind, Addis Ababa Rockers, which is a brand new brand under the Africology wing that are out as well on the Africology shop.
What is it called?
That's the main thing. Addis State of Mind. Like
Addis State of Mind. I like it.
And then Addis Ababa Rockers.
Okay.
Yeah, that goes back to like the more vintage, reggae poster 70s, 80s kind of groove,
Mm-hmm.
So that's the aim. Yeah. So, but at the same time, we're looking into Africology Records as well.
Okay.
We have a catalog that we're going to work on releasing.
Okay.
So that's I think, for the next part of 2021, that's going to be the aim, is to bring out some of the sounds. So, you have the textile and then bring some sounds along with it. And then down the line, when things free up in this world, then we're going to do more things in accordance.
Gotcha. And on Africa, okay, so I really love it. I mean, I really am loving on you guys right now. So much love. So basically, I love the whole Addis State of Mind and Addis Ababa Rockers. I think that's really cool. And so when do those come? Can people go online right now and check it out?
Yeah, I mean, so a little bit of background in regards to how 2020 ended for us and we got into
Yes,
2021,
please.
was basically the first part of 2020 was creation process, right? It was design concepts, research in regards to what manufacturers we're going to work with, website development, marketing, all that was first part. And then it took a little bit longer than anticipated, but then by I would say September or so, we were kind of pretty much done, and we were ordering samples, checking out what these designs look like and what have you. And then November 27th was when we launched. We did a soft launch. I'm not, I'm a big believer in just starting out just kind of real subtle, you know what I mean? To make sure all the details are fine tuned. So November 27th, we launched it. We had a good reception in regards to, what people thought about the brand. We made a few improvements or what have you. So it's been launched in November, and then we started releasing the collaboration pieces as well. So just for people to understand, what Africology shop is basically, it represents African, Caribbean, and Latin streetwear brands. What we realized was, in regards to what Kimati, like I told you, who's for me the cornerstone of streetwear when it comes to African streetwear. There's so many others, right? But I can only talk for the ones that I know and the ones that I've worked with. So we realized that having a shop that represents streetwear for me was what was ideal. That's what I had been doing for years. You know what I mean? Working for the clothing line. So we have, like Sirak said, Addis State of Mind, Addis Awa Rockers, Africology Clothing, Africology Collaborations, African Royalty Pack, Kushneta Skateboarding, and the Healing of the Nations. Now, so
wow,
so with these brands, like Sirak said, with Addis State of Mind, Addis Awa Rockers, Africology Clothing, and Collaborations are under Africology. They're our imprints, you would say, right? And then when it comes to African Royalty Pack, it's a 50-50 deal with Jamhuri Wear and Africology, and we push that. He pushes it on his website. We push it on our website, and we're working on really getting these deck of cards. And these deck of cards, when they were created, they're collector's item. A lot of people think that we wanted to get into the gaming industry. No, that was never our intention. It was collector's item to be in gift shops, and you know what I mean, for people to appreciate the art. We're not out here, we're not gamblers or any of that stuff, So we have all those brands being represented under one roof. And for me, the ones that matter the most, I mean, all of them matter, but the collaborations for us is important, because ever since the inception of Africology, we always wanted to give back. Even when we didn't have nothing, we were like, social responsibility, man. No matter what it is, we got to give back. We always said that, and we hold true to it now by doing basically designs with creatives from all around the world. And so the first one we released with was Tommy T from Thomas Gobana. I'm sure you know him. Henok Temesgen's younger brother, the bass player. Yeah, so we released 2 pieces with him. You know what I mean? And the whole concept with Africology Collaborations was to give back, like we said. So it's a 60-40 split, where the 60% goes to the artist, the 40% goes to Africology, and that 40%, after we cover our cost of manufacturing, what have you, goes to a charity that we align with. So with Tommy, we're brothers. We've traveled together to Belize. We've been to Ethiopia together. So we look at things that we see issues with, which in Ethiopia was kids that sniff glue, for example, is an issue in Ethiopia, So when we were driving in the streets of Addis a few years back, Tommy and I were like, man, we got to do something. And I was like, man, I don't even know where to start. And we had said that. And then fast forward to 2020, I was like, man, sell T-shirts, get the funds, and, push it back to the community in any way that we can. So that's how we started. That's how we started. So, and then we also have a collaboration with comedian Thomas, 2 designs that came out. And basically each design concept, the idea is to give back to whatever the artist and Africology kind of align with 100% transparency, and really us controlling it to make sure that it goes to the right the right cause.
To the right people.
Properly and what have you. You know, what else? There's a few other collaborations that have been done that we're just kind of waiting to release. But there's some dope artists and creatives in Ethiopia. And then we also did one with the Healing of the Nations, which is a thing that we released called Iron Sharpens Iron, which, you know, for me, that was again the learning lessons throughout the years is like you gotta sharpen each other's knives to be sharp. You know what I mean? And so even with that collaboration, it's going to a community garden in Lalibela, and with Danny, who owns the Healing of the Nations, when I said it's a 60-40 split, 60 goes to you, he's like, nah, man. He's like, I don't need this money, bro. Like, let's give 100%. So with the iron sharpens iron concept, and that's what I wanted to encourage our musicians to do, or creatives, was it's not about us. Africology Collaborations was created to help other people. So when they understand the concept, they kind of say, nah, we don't need this money. We're good with it. Even though they need it, but you know, there's other people that need it more than we do. That's how we're rocking it, and things are moving. People love the pieces. We're getting good reception. We're pretty active on Clubhouse as well, you know, and and it's all organic. You know, I know I don't want to mention these big names, but you know, the FBs and IGs, man, it's like those people want you to spend your last dollars on promotion and this and that, and otherwise it's like the algorithms are just really messed up, you know what I mean? But we still push it out. We still push content, and what we've decided is we've launched, and no matter what it is, we're just going to keep pushing it out. And we know people are watching. We know people like the stuff, you know what I mean? It's just that it takes a little bit of time for us to push forward, you know, to vibe with, you know, shows like yours, you know what I mean? And just put the word out. But and you know, once you have a good foundation, everything else is going to start sitting pretty. So we're confident, you know, we're going to grow and make change happen.
You know, so from the time when we met you, and this is the part that really just makes me proud. I mean, like, that's why I said I love men with vision, and I love that the vision is still there. It may have molded a little bit, you know, and the mold is still continuing, and it'll continue as it should. But I just love everything that you guys are doing. The vision is so strong. The passion is so deep, and you guys are just, you make me want to go and sit back. I need to have like a reflection space, man. I'm just like, so Linda, what are you doing, man? You know. So it's very beautiful to see where you guys have come from, you know, and like I'm saying, you know, the moment that we met, you know, I remember Abby, you know, all these beautiful people. Munitiye, I love you so much. Where are you? Where are you, Shorty?
Not too far from where I live. She's around. We keep in touch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Love and kisses. Oh my gosh.
Definitely.
But you know, it's so great to see where you guys have come. You know, there's your shop going on, there's collaborations going on, there's your records going on, and the philanthropy is just sick as heck. I mean, like, that for me is just hands down 100. And I feel like it's great that you went through 2020 doing what you were doing. Thank you, my love. My son has brought me one chip.
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like, I you know, wherever you need me to, I don't know, do something, please just let me know. I'm so keen and so happy.
I was just about to say one last important thing in regards to collaborating, because for me, I think it's important for people to understand how things are organic, right? So flashback to around the same time we met in Ethiopia. So around that, I might get the years mixed, but what I do know is Ethiopia's the Ethiopian skateboard scene started popping up around 2012, around 2013. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember as Africology, one of the first Africology TV interviews that we had done was with the Ethiopia skate park crew, with
Yeah.
Nared and a bunch of them, you know. But for
Mm-hmm.
me, I look back at that interview that we did, and you would be like, they were kids then. I mean, there's no disputing
Yeah.
that. I mean, they were
Mhm.
kids, but they had passion, they had drive. And I remember we had printed the Africology logo tees. We went there, we put it out. You know what I mean? Gave it to.
Mm.
We did the interviews, and we got to know them as people, and we kept in touch through the years. So fast forward to 2020, Yared is the owner of Krishneta Skateboard, for example, right? And
Wow.
you know what I mean, and he's a younger brother that we kind of, you know what I mean, make sure he's on the right path in regards to business and what have you. So what we decided to do was have represent his brand in America, and you know, Krishneta Skateboard belongs to Yared and his team, but we're out here just really pushing his brand and their agenda forward, because it's a movement they're about, you know. It's not just
Yeah.
a business, that it's a movement of, it's at the state of mind. It's a new state of mind. They're out there skateboarding. They're not out here to hurt people, you know what I mean? And you should see the joys of, like, when you watch these kids. There's this new kid, his name is Abraham. He's like 6 years old, and it reminds me of Hanok and the rest of them when we met them back then. But the way these guys skate, man, they're professionals. It ain't no joke, you know what I mean? And now,
Yeah.
you know, it like, for me, that's the drive and the passion, is that we're able to work with them and push forward with the movement and with the culture, and understand each other. And, you know, I encourage people to go back and check out, you know, Africology's YouTube, to check out some of these interviews that we've done in the past, to get to know these people. And then I encourage them now to go into their Instagram pages to see them now. And, you
Yeah.
know, they've grown to be kings, really, you know, kings and queens. And that's what, for us, Africology's job feels like it's done when you see these grow, these men and women grow into upstanding citizens, and, you know what I mean, philanthropists
Yeah.
and entrepreneurs and what have you. So I didn't want to let this interview pass by without giving Yared and his team, you know, big ups. And there's a lot more in the works, you know, that I don't want to be
Yeah.
specific about, but
Yeah.
we're working hard to get things together, you know, and keep pushing. So look out for it, world.
I definitely, wherever you want me to plug in, and tell me when you want to speak, and if you want to showcase, we can do. Anyway, I'm gonna sidebar you so that we could do something really special, especially about your shop stuff. So I'm just thinking of a really cool, unique, something crazy is happening in my head right now. So
Let's make it happen.
I'm definitely gonna let you guys know. I mean, like, seriously, it is so crazy in my head right now. But I'm so proud. So Yared, a big shout out to you. And you know, maybe at some point, one day in our lifetime, we'll get to see your, maybe my son will get your skateboard, you know,
Yeah,
because
they make skateboards.
you know what I'm saying?
They make them in Ethiopia now, like Krishneta
This is so
skateboard.
dope.
Yeah, the wood,
That is so
everything
dope.
carved. Yeah, they even make earrings, man, out of like the scrap parts of the wood they use for the skateboards. They have
What?
some
Sustainability, ethical. I mean,
I'm
come
telling
on,
you.
stop the
So how could,
business.
yeah.
Ishi Yarediye, Holler.
Yeah.
I want to interview you.
Yeah, I think
My
you should do that.
Avesha accent. No, I definitely want to interview him. I mean, like, I think it's just, you know, you guys hook it up. You know, I love stories like that. It's just beautiful. And what you guys, you know, like I said, the love that you guys have for community, for society, for people, for, yeah, just that love. No wonder it's called Africology. What else would you have called it?
I don't know, man. That name
For
came
real.
about years ago.
That's why I'm saying.
It's obviously it's been used before. You know what I mean? There's, but for us, it was the vibe.
Yeah.
Big up to Kanan, and you know, it was
his show. Yeah.
that name came about, where it was
Keziah Jones.
Keziah Jones, that's the brother's name. And he said, I swear, you know, those were the days of New York City and, you know, drinking Stellas and shots of Jameson, you know, so the ears could kind of had to be fine-tuned. But what I do remember
Hey,
hearing
Jameson. Mm-hmm.
from that event was when his song was playing, he said Bafukology, like Bafukology, which is, you know, but I heard Africology. And it's, you know, it's from Keziah Jones. I was like, and Sirak was sitting next to me, and I was like, yo, bro, I think we should call the company Africology. It's like, yo, that's dope. Where you get that from? It's like, man, I just heard it from the song, man. I think he said Africology, and we kept listening to the song over and over again, and we realized he was saying Bafukology, but Africology sounded dope as well. And then
well, I mean, it made sense because at the end of the day, we were trying to tell our own story, right? So it's just like,
yeah,
and all this time in the sense of Africology, and all the Africologists are not even African for the most part. You know what I mean? These are like other people telling our story.
Did I just think I did? No, but you guys need to keep. You guys need to keep going. I feel like I need to have a part 2 session with you, maybe in a month's time.
Yeah.
No, really. Sure. Let's do another session, and this time we just really focus because there's so much. You guys are loaded. You guys are like a hot dog loaded. you know, like with all the trimmings. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, how are you gonna take? So it's just, I definitely want to in June, definitely have a session with you, and we'll include Yared into the session too. Abby and Abby. Oh my gosh, Abby.
By the way, shout out to him. I don't know if you know, but the brother is on some major moves. They just launched a company called Komari, and they have a new brand on the streets of Addis called Arada. So
called what?
It's called Arada, Arada.
Arada.
Yeah,
Arada.
Yeah, it's a beverage company, and it just launched, I think, 2 weeks ago. So
love it.
He's it's kind of like a cider. So they realized there was a gap in affordability when it comes to cocktails. You know, cocktails are expensive and what have you. So they created Komari beverages, which, you know, he's been working hard throughout the years for that. You know what I mean? And they've launched.
Wow.
And you should definitely check that out as well.
Abby, yay. I love you. I love you so much. Nah, are you still living along that Korokonch Road somewhere? What the line, Korokonch Road?
No.
No, it's because I just wanted to say those words so badly.
No,
I was like, where do I fit them in?
Linda, would you believe me if I say, you know, in Amharic, Abi ya Abbat Lijno? You know what that means?
No, tell me.
Abi is a father of a child now. He has a
Lijochi.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, a Lijochi.
Yeah, Lijoch Abbat.
Lijoch Abbat.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, congratulations, Abi. Oh my God. You know, he's done some really big things. That's another person I really want to talk to because his journey is so dope. I mean, yeah. He's definitely affected, and you know, he's affected and what is it? Touched so many lives.
Yeah, in the industry.
What is touched? What is touch in Vamarinya?
Menkat?
Yeah.
Man, I'm the worst to translate, man. Like touch.
Okay, you guys just stay in Maryland and Virginia, please. I'll call the guys in Ethiopia. But I'm sending you guys.
Time frame over there.
I know, but I'm sending you guys love. I have to let you go because DJ's nanny has to go. We've got curfew, so I need her to get home before she gets stuck on the streets because. You know how we're doing out here.
Nairobi traffic.
But we've got our curfew that starts at 8, and she needs to get home ASAP. But I'm sending you love. Mwah. Our second session, Siraki and Kalab, I'm gonna get back in touch with you within this, you know, by Monday, and just give you a date for June. So that we can continue to highlight and project really great people. maybe this is the time when we plug in also Kimathi, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd like
Yeah.
to have like a good realm of people, and we can just have a good talk.
No, absolutely. And I think for people that really want to catch up with us, the at Africology pages on Instagram is us. It's open. Always send us a direct message. Africologyshop.com is where you find all the products. And then we're also active on Clubhouse every Friday. We do artist spotlight with our sister Beatty that has a company called Kinet Bait. And
Yeah.
you know, we're on the audio app, kind of, you know, pushing our agenda forward as well with artists that we've rocked with. Actually, no, that's wrong. It's africologyshop.com.
Africologyshop.com.
Yeah.
Hold up. Oh, hide that, please. All right, let's edit that.
And then,
Okay.
yeah, I would say, you know, definitely, if you're not going to go in and buy the product, definitely just share it, like it, you know, pass it to people.
Mhm.
Like I said, that's what drives small businesses to become successful. You know.
Yeah, call her. Call her. Go and call her. Okay. Sorry. All right. Sorry.
yeah,
I
so that's
missed
where we
that
are.
last part.
No, I was saying.
know-
No, you're good. You're good. No, I was saying that it's important for people we don't want every single person to just go in and buy the product, but to engage with us, to, you know what I mean? Share it with people, and, you know,
Just feedback.
feedback.
We would love
you know?
feedback.
That's important.
Yeah.
That's important, you know. So we're here, and our agenda is to really represent streetwear in Africa, like wearing colorful, dope T-shirts, and that will uplift and kind of make people smile, or, you know, they'll see something funny or something that will challenge their state of mind and what have you. And that's how we want to create change, you know. So that's where we
Okay.
are, Linda.
Well, we're definitely going to speak very, very soon, and we're definitely doing a part 2 of this beautiful Africology journey, because I feel like I didn't even touch the base of it, and I know that you guys also feel that we haven't even like touched in on, like, you know, we've been catching up, but we haven't really done what is necessary. Hold on one second. I'm going to do something very off the cuff. Fungua, unaweza kufungua alafu uende alafu nitakuja nifunge. Thank you.
All good.
So the nanny's got to go. Okay, so I will be in touch. Let me let the nanny go, and sending
good.
you guys love. Kalab,
Peace,
it's so
peace.
good to see you. At least I see Sirak and stop being
I'm
is a
around.
word.
I
Okay.
don't know.
All right.
always around, man. You know, I'm just in my own corner, driving my own lane, man. That's my new rule.
All right,
Always
sending you
around.
love.
Peace.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Thank you, the Hub Karen. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Sorry, it's a rushed one, but we've got curfew. This is the Nairobi state of mind. This is where we're at. So, yeah, but sending you guys love, and I will be in touch with you soonest. Mwah.
Take
Ciao.
care.
Peace.
Peace.